Do you feel like situationships have a place in dating?
No, not situationships. No.
I think that has really hurt the dating era. Like, I feel like BBL culture, like the influencer culture, it's messed up dating because men think that, like, okay, I can get a woman like that.
Yeah.
Or that's what they're lusting after, right? Like, they're aspiring to that. And I just feel like it makes, especially in Atlanta, right? Atlanta is like the mecca of BBLs and like living above your means and like just the craziness and that facade that you're painting on social media. I just feel like it makes it hard to find anybody genuine, right?
Yeah.
I was telling you about it. There's this app, Ladies.
Oh, yes.
Ladies, if you have not heard of the app, the T app, go run to the App Store right now, download it on your phone immediately.
Say that you're gonna be Nancy. Yeah. Are you gonna be in love with me? I want you and need you to be.
Welcome to Boldly Becoming Podcast.
It's your girl, Kiara Chantel.
And I'm Lasia J.
And this is a podcast where you come to boldly become your higher functioning self. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in again. We're so happy to have y'all back with us this week. And let's just hop into it.
Yeah.
How have you been this week?
No, how have you been this week? Let's start with you.
I've been this
mine
week?
is a whole essay.
Yeah, I've been good. It's been a good week. Like, I just celebrated my mom's birthday. Happy birthday to my mom. We went candle making. That was really fun. Shout out to It's Candlelit ATL. Y'all should go try it if you're in the Atlanta area because it was definitely a good time.
It was.
We had dinner and yeah, I've just been chilling. It's a holiday, 3-day weekend.
I tried clams for the first time. What was clams?
No, oysters.
Oysters.
Yeah, them oysters was bussin'.
They was cooked, so I'm good with cooked, but I'm scared of those ones that I heard you got to throw
raw?
back.
Yeah. So did it make you feel, was you feeling a little spicy after?
No.
No. Dang.
And my night was ruined. Isn't it so crazy, right? Because the crazy thing is I was having the most amazing couple days. Remember I kept saying it? Like,
you were
dang,
like, dang.
I had a amazing good couple of days. And then literally that night, the night that we got done eating, it was that night? Yeah. Went to sleep like normal. I remember waking up in the middle night because I heard like some buzzing, but I wasn't 100% sure. And I was like, is that someone's phone? And I was just like, whatever, like I'm tired. I woke up in the morning and I seen my sister. Actually, because my sister had contacted me. She had texted me and was like, hey, like I'm at Topgolf. I'm using your account because, you know, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, LOL, only you know? And then a couple of hours later, I ended up receiving a couple of missed calls from her. And then I also had got a Instagram message from one of my cousins. And, you know, he was like, Malaysia, what happened? So when I woke up in the morning, I seen those missed calls and I seen that text. I was like, bro, my heart fell. I already knew what it was. I already knew what that phone call was. It was too familiar. And I hop out of bed, you know, because Mari and Sage are still asleep. Mari see me hop out of bed, so he's like up, like, what's going on or whatever. I call my sister back, and oh man, and she tells me that my cousin Nasiah had passed away. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how? And I had automatically, like, it was one or two ways, and because I found out where she was, and I was just like, it's only one or two ways. So, and she confirmed the way she passed away, and I just started breaking down. I started breaking down and started making my phone calls, like, you know, and my uncle answered, and we had a good conversation and whatnot, but I was just so hurt. And I remember getting off the phone with him and I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go cry. Like, I couldn't even do nothing. I just kept crying and just broke down in Mari's arms because, again, even though she was my cousin, we grew up basically like sisters. Like we grew up a good amount of time in the same household.
Right.
And like I literally remember when she came home from the hospital. I literally remember the first couple of months, like the room, the house. Like I could vividly right now see how the room was. Like, so it's just crazy. And I was telling my other cousin Jakira, because it was like all three of us. And all four of us actually, because it was Nasiah, Jakira, Jemiah, and me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just tore me up. So she passed away. And the wildest part is I found out she was TikTok famous
Because of that?
because of her passing.
Mm.
Like I'm on social media, but my algorithm, like, is just, I guess it's not that her algorithm, and it's a
Right.
really nice algorithm. Like, you know, the dances and stuff like you be
Mhm.
seeing on TikTok, like she be doing the dancers, like to the point people thought she was a Tommy the Clown dancer
Mm.
because she was on TikTok, like telling story times, like. And so let me tell you how I found out. So I post a picture of her and of the family and stuff, a throwback, and random pages start coming on my stuff, and I'm like, what the freak? So I say, like, I literally posted a message. I'm like, I don't mind, but how are y'all finding my page so fast from Saya's page?
Mm.
Later to find out she's TikTok famous.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And all of this is
And
coming up now.
yeah, and all of this has come up now, which also made me sad because I'm like, dang, like she has so much going for herself, and there's a lot of people in there like just showing their condolences. Like she was really loved, and it honestly made me feel better though because she left her impact on the world. Like she literally, you know, people was really crying on the app because of
Yeah.
her, and was like, so also y'all, this is the same night that they took TikTok. They took TikTok. And when everyone the morning, that morning, they gave TikTok back. And so all of the TikTokers found out like, wait, so we coming back to TikTok, but our favorite TikTok influencer is gone.
Mm.
And so everybody was just going crazy, and it's just heartbreaking on my family. Like there's been deaths in my family, but never this close. Like,
Yeah.
and it's a different type of pain. Like my heart, like I could literally feel my heart hurting.
What is your favorite memory of her? Like, what was a good time that you had with her?
I would definitely like all of the times that we would have to like wait on our ride after school because, you know, we'll take pictures, we'll laugh, we'll, you know, joke around, you know, as usual.
Mhm.
And they was funny. Like her and Jemiah are like a couple of months apart, I think. They not too far apart, and they literally funny. Like I could show you this video when we done. But you know, what's that one Vine? He was like, I don't know, but I might get it wrong. But you
Mhm.
know, where it's like, are you for real? You met who?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they would like do that Vine when they was like 3 years old, 4 years old, and like everybody would just be laughing because they was just a lot.
That's
But,
cute.
yeah.
I am so sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for your family and her loss. And I mean, hopefully they can get some type of resolution for her and, you know,
Yeah.
keep her memory alive through
I
TikTok.
just don't feel like my family. They've been handling it pretty beautiful, but I don't feel like my family grieve well.
Mm.
And you know, like that was one thing though. When I found out, I just started praying out loud. I like started playing gospel music, started praising God, because even though like my faith in God is very very strong, and even though this like shook, like this literally was a whole earthquake in a crack. Um, I'm still able to like, you know, put it in God's hands, and I'm understanding that, you know, we are on borrowed time, and you
We all
know,
have a date and a
these
time.
our temples are, you know, God's, and um I'm like over here shaking.
Yeah.
And it's just like you can't be selfish, like. And when I seen everyone posting on TikTok, it made me so happy, and made me smile on the inside because like you fulfilled your purpose, like you made your mark on the world.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be thousands of people who remember you.
And
So
talk about you and carry your memory. So
mhm.
That's beautiful. Like, in her short amount of time on earth, she made such a big impact. Like, job well done. She did what she was supposed to
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you can only just be proud.
Yeah.
And, I just hope and pray for everybody else and hope that they could grieve properly and continue to love and have faith in God.
I think this is just a big lesson to hug your loved ones, right? Like,
Yes,
hug them.
that was the part that hurt me the most, because literally I knew that this time was going to come eventually because I'm so far away from my family. I want to freaking cry.
Oh.
But I knew that this moment was going to come eventually.
Mhm.
And I always feared it, and that moment is here.
Yeah.
And so it's just hard. And this is like basically like my first grievance, like, because honestly, there hasn't been too many deaths in my family. So this one is just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's hidden.
It shook me up. It shook my world. And I was going to say too, like, that was the part that hurt me the most, is because we often think that because we're young, we have time, and that's not the case.
Mhm.
And I regret that because I had, like, in the back of my head, I knew, like, life is short, like, reach out to your loved ones, but I got caught slipping.
Yeah, you always think that you have more time, right?
Yeah.
Because we are young. You think because we're young, we're invincible. Like, sickness only happens to older people.
Like,
or
we got time. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing is for my birthday, last April, I had reached out to my cousins and my auntie and them, and I was, trying to get a house in Malibu, like an Airbnb in Malibu, and so everybody could come and bring their kids, and we just bond as a family, and it didn't happen. And so, like, that's the hardest thing for me right now, is because she never got to meet my daughter, and I'm just messed up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the only thing that you can do now is just continue keeping her memory alive the best way that you can, and like being there for your family, keeping them uplifted, and like maybe this is something that's going to bring y'all back together, right?
I honestly think so, and I honestly hope it does.
Yeah.
I have faith in that, and I receive that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you ready to get into the
Yes,
episode?
let's get into it.
So today we're going to be talking about relationships and dating, because what is going on in these streets, okay? It is crazy. If you are single, I've heard it's hard out here to be single. Let's get into it.
Yes.
So this age has been the age, but I don't feel like it's just specifically this age, right? I feel like situationships have always kind of existed. We just named them recently, like situationships. But I think do you feel like situationships have a place in dating?
Situationships. No. Not situationships. No. Because anything with confusion is a no for me. So if you confused, if those actions are not matching up with the words, it's a problem for me. Like, every time. So situationships, I would say more so, like, I know situationships, but they also call it a hookup error. So I think that that's what we're going up against, is a hookup error. Like, everyone's hooking up, they don't care. I feel like a lot of the dating life too is about an image. Like, what could I get out of this? Like, what are you doing for me?
Yeah.
And I think everyone needs to be humble or need to be humbled so that we could come back to reality, because the things that I be seeing, I seen something on TikTok the other day where they was like, are you okay with a boring relationship? Or, like, I'm like, what? Like, and it's so crazy because I remember I was talking to one of my coworkers about this, and I was telling her, giving her advice. When you grow up in survival, a lot of times things are chaotic, and we get
used to
get used to it.
You think it's
so
normal.
when things are normal and when things are going good, little do we know that those little sparks of, thoughts in our head is triggering and also dictating our relationships. Little do we know. And I'm starting to realize that a lot with a lot of people is that we really don't know how much what we surround ourselves by, what we listen to, the people that we hang around, how much it affects our daily life. I see it all the time working with people. Like
Yeah.
people are sabotaging their own journey.
I think situationships are interesting because, like, maybe there is a place for it, right? Like, what if two people have an understanding? I think situationships become confusing when there's confusion, right? When one person wants more than what the other person wants, and not both parties are necessarily on the same page and clear about like their expectations and what they want out of the situation. But if you both are like, I don't want anything serious, I'm just here to like
Well, that's
enjoy.
not a situationship. That's called dating.
Hey,
Yeah.
maybe it is.
Dating is, you dating each other. Let me take you out. But I tell, especially, I was going to say young woman, but I am a young woman. I am a young woman, but I tell girls all the time, if you don't got a ring on your finger, this is minus living together, right? Because I feel like once you live together, it's a little bit different and things get a little bit more stickier. But if y'all not living together and y'all dating, I don't feel like you should put all your eggs in that basket. Don't be doing no wifey things for no boy. Like, saute it a little bit, but don't drench it. Like, don't over season it. Like, let them know like what you capable of and stuff, and like show them, the qualities, but don't give all of yourself to no man when you don't got a ring on your finger, because your husband could be sitting right next to you and you blocking your blessings, you sabotaging your journey because you're giving all yourself to this guy who's all in your ear, especially if his actions are not adding up. He's all in your ear and his actions are not even showing. What are you falling back on? Some words? That's crazy to me.
That is crazy, but for some people, like, words that's all they know, right? Like, they don't know to accept anything better.
And so if they are willing to do that, then they also need to accept the fact that they're sabotaging their future, possibly.
Yeah. Don't be upset when.
Yeah. Let that man be a man and show you. That's how I feel. Let that man be a man and show you, because when they natural hunters, so if they want you, they coming.
Oh yeah, they're gonna come and get you.
They
You don't ever have to
sniffing,
question. You don't have to question if somebody really wants you and really likes you. You'll know their intentions will be set and clear.
Yeah,
you won't have to question that.
And I know I'm saying this, but I've also been in situations like that. Remember how last time we were talking about how what were we saying? Dang, brain fart.
It's all right.
Squirrel.
Those things happen. Look,
I'm freaking.
so I think that is kind of like good to go into the next topic of like dating in the digital age, right? Because do you feel like dating in the digital age, where there's social media, where there's Tinder, where there's all these things that exist, like finding someone is so easy, it's so accessible. Do you feel like that like perpetuates the situationship cycle?
Absolutely. It gives this image. We all know it gives the image. It portrays this image. But you already know how I feel about social media. Like the whole no post, zero post. But,
Watching everything
is a little creepy to me. Gen Z, y'all a little creepy. I'm a Gen Z, but I'm more on a like millennial Gen Z, I'm in between.
She's like, y'all a little creepy.
Where those years last. But Gen Z, y'all a little creepy for that, because the whole point of social media is the post. Like, what are we doing?
Hey.
And you're just looking at my stuff, you're not liking nothing, you're not saying hey, like engaging with me. And I'm a very like, for example, we used to go to the same gym, but when I would go to the gym and I would follow people from the gym, no, I'm not just walking into the gym and no longer talking to you. Like, you added me on social media. You're seeing how I'm living. I'm going to say hi to you in person. Like, hey, like, how are you? Like,
Right.
I see you posting. Like, I'm going to acknowledge you as a person. And I feel like society has got so used to like shying away from that. Like, whole life be following people and they'll be in your face and don't say nothing. And I'll just be like, okay,
Right.
that's a little weird.
How do you feel like that impacts dating?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think that they got plenty of fish in the sea and it's only a select few, for sure. I see that all the time, too. People out here looking bomb as heck. It's shot.
Look.
It's shot. Like, there's this podcast. I think her name is, what's her name? I don't know what her name is. I think it's like Snow or something. I don't know. She kind of, I don't know. But they be talking about that on their podcast, like how this whole perception is just so off. Like, there's a lot of people, men and women, sharing some social media post as if they're living this life. And, you know, Drake said it in one of his songs, like, you took pictures, you know, you posting pictures from a week ago, like as if you're still on vacation. That's real life out here. People just think that there's a lot of people out there, especially because they're receiving likes or they receiving DMs. It's nothing to receive a like or a DM. Like, how are you in person? Do you even look how you look in person, how you do on your social media? Because I be seeing a lot of that too, like a lot of edits, not just, you know, blemish, like no filter, like no, like whole life, like editing their pictures, sucking in this, pushing out that. And I seen that before and I was just like, ooh.
I mean, social media has definitely contributed to the catfish era, right? Like,
and if you're not around it, you won't know. The funny thing to me is I'm a married woman, so I be telling my husband, like, yeah, go ahead and go out there.
Look,
You're
go
gonna
ahead.
be
You're
running
gonna be
back.
right back. The grass is not always greener.
Back, boy. Go ahead. If you
Yeah.
want to. We make a joke about that all the time. But yeah, what about you though? How you feel about social media and dating?
I feel like social media has made things too accessible, right? Like, I have been like talking to friends and stuff that are on like these apps and they're trying to meet people, and they just say that like it never carries over into anything. Like, you might have a quick conversation with somebody, but it doesn't last, right? Because they found the next best thing. Like,
And not even that though too, but I feel like a part of that could be people's time, like, what is it called? Time span in their head.
attention span.
Attention span. There we go.
Yeah.
People's attention span, like you're fulfilling, you know, a moment in their day-to-day life. And I feel like that could also be toxic too, because it's kind of like adult filming. Like, it's a temporary like release and you're not working on the actual thing. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine going from person to person to person to person, like having a conversations. You're having hella conversations a day. Like, what is your day like? Like, first of all, what is your day like and what is your life like to even have that much time to have all of these conversations with people? Like, if you really serious, how are you having this much time?
But that, I think that just goes to show, like, kind of going back to situationships, right? People, they're not looking, like, it doesn't seem like a lot of people, and I can't say people, right? Because let me not speak generally, but it seems like a lot of people, they're just looking for that quick, like, little fix, right?
Exactly.
Like, I need somebody to stroke my ego. Let me go on this app, get a whole bunch of likes,
Exactly.
hit up a whole bunch of girls, and like have some
And
conversations.
And if it's a man or a woman too, it's ego. Some people feel like because they getting swiped up on, like, oh, I got fans, or like I got people who really like me, like I could have any of these dudes. And it's just like, but can you? And also too, what are you posting on those social media? On those social media platforms? Are you naked? You shaking your butt?
I think that has really hurt the dating era. Like, I feel like BBL culture and like the influencer culture, it's messed up dating, because men think that like, okay, I can get a woman like that.
Yeah.
Or that's what they're lusting after, right? Like, they're aspiring to that. And I just feel like it makes, especially in Atlanta, right? Atlanta is like the mecca of BBLs and like living above your means and like just the craziness and that facade that you're painting on social media. I just feel like it makes it hard to find anybody genuine, right?
Yeah.
Or like you have guys that they want somebody that matches their aesthetic. Like they're searching for the
Yeah.
baddie or
I do feel like that. I feel like that's true. But at the same time, too, I feel like there's a lot behind the scenes as well where they're going for that look. But in reality, like when BBLs was happening, I knew us skinny girls was going to come back.
oh,
I knew we was going to come back,
natural
baby.
bodies is always
Okay?
winning.
Natural bodies, too. Like, that's really what I meant. Natural bodies was going to come back. And I feel bad for the people who got that stuff done. And in person, it be looking like
Crazy.
And the crazy thing is, I don't think that they for real know. I don't think
There's nobody
nobody
telling
talking
them.
about it.
Dang.
Yeah, some people probably got it done right, but I don't know. Like, I feel like if you don't get your massages right or
yeah.
whatever,
You'll
or
be looking lumpy.
like matter of fact, if you got a BBL, you probably need one of those like punching guns so it could like pat it back.
Not pat the fat
Okay,
back
no.
in. I cannot.
But I was gonna say, I feel like behind the scenes though, a lot of people like that's what guys are going for, like visually, but behind closed doors
That's
they
not
want
what they want.
yeah. And
Just bring back 90s fine. Like
90s fine.
90s fine
And
was oh
also
my gosh.
too, like it just makes more room for the girls who are not doing all of those things. Like y'all, at the end of the day, y'all gonna stand out.
Hey, and this takes us into our next topic about self-love, right? And like that being the foundation of any relationship.
Yeah,
It's like you gotta love yourself, love the skin that you're in.
What does that mean? What do you feel like love yourself mean?
I think that loving yourself means that so I feel like in relationships, right, we have the perception that like it's 50-50, right? Like you should come into a relationship and it should be 50-50. But I feel like
It's 100.
it should be 100-100.
Yep.
Y'all should be two whole people coming and like making each other's lives better, not completing my life, right? Like
Right.
I can do everything by myself. I can take care of myself. I can fulfill my
I don't need
happiness.
you. I want you.
Yes, it's a want, not a need. Like
exactly.
I want to be with you. I want to like spend my time with you. I don't need to do that. I can
Exactly.
be content and happy
Exactly.
by myself.
I could be with another.
Okay?
Like
So that's what I feel like self-love is, right? It's like just being so content and happy with yourself that like you could be by yourself, but like, hey, yeah, it would be nice to have somebody to share life
Right.
with.
right.
Do you feel like, well, how do you feel about self-love?
Self-love. I feel the same way that you feel, but I also feel like self-love, the first step to self-love is healing.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely have to heal. You absolutely have to ask yourself questions. You talk to yourself. When emotional intelligence, we always talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
It goes hand to hand to me. And I feel like be familiar with yourself enough. Like, this makes me angry. Example. Let me give you an example. I have a baby, been married for about 2 years, still freshly new. So I had noticed that with Sage, I seen some things that I was doing with Sage that my mom used to do with me that I did not like.
Right.
And I was able to make myself aware of that and communicate that with my husband and tell him, look, I'm noticing some things that my mom used to do to me, and I don't like that. I know how it made me feel. I don't want this for Sage, and I need you to check me, you know. And when I say check me, respectfully, okay?
Okay. But pull me to the side. Have a
But
little
yeah, like pull me
conversation.
to the side. Like I seen this one video that I, encouraged in our relationship, and when we're in a tense moment with Sage, or it's a moment where she needs to be disciplined, and one parent is more frustrated, and it's like, because you're human,
Right.
Tap the shoulder, and that's a signal to automatically know, like, all right, let me just turn away.
Right.
Like, just go the opposite way, no words, no nothing, and respect that your spouse is doing that. But I turn that back to say, you have to be able to know what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what makes you. I highly encourage anyone before marriage or anything, go to marriage counseling, and also before even marriage counseling, when you're dating, really figure out what your love languages are, because that's going to play a big part.
Yeah.
If y'all love languages are clashing,
it may not work, or you got to figure out how to make it work.
It may not work. And if you try to figure out, if you move forward to try to figure it out, it's hard because
it's not
kind of like
natural,
flesh
right?
versus biblical. You're going to always want to do what the flesh want to do. I don't want to do that right now. I want to do this. And when your love languages are not, love is selfless. Love is selfless. Period. That's it.
Clock it.
Drop the mic. So 9 times out of 10, in general, even outside of that though, you could use that in your everyday life as well. Typically when you don't want to do something is when you should do it. And a lot of times when you want to do something, sometimes you shouldn't do it. And you got to be able to figure that out and know yourself enough, because again, you're only one decision away from going forward, backwards, sideways, wherever you going, you're only one decision away from that. And those things play
Matter.
big parts in it.
They matter.
Yeah.
That kind of brings me into talking about boundaries versus walls, right? Because you said, you sometimes have to do things outside of your comfort zone, right? But then, there's those times where you don't want to do something, and it's important to establish boundaries in that. To you, what does boundaries versus walls mean? What does that to you? What do you think that looks like?
I know. Okay, when I did psychology, I actually did a whole paper about this. So, a lot of times marriages and relationships don't work because people build walls. A wall is a brick. And when you putting that brick on that wall, because a lot of times you're probably not even saying nothing. That brick is when you no longer communicating. There we go. Because when you're no longer communicating about it, that means you don't care, or you're trying to push it under the rug, and whatever's pushed under the rug always, come back to surface. I feel like, at least. But yeah, and boundaries is just something that it's I don't know why, but I kind of want to say boundaries is also kind of hand in hand with compromising. So you need to figure out your boundary, you need to figure out what are you willing to compromise and what are you willing to not compromise.
I love that.
That is how you determine what your boundary is. If I cannot compromise this is a boundary for me. I am not willing to sacrifice this.
I like what you said, because I feel like a boundary, right, it's penetrable. I could maybe shift around a boundary depending on if we have healthy communication about it.
You shouldn't though.
I
love that you said that, because actually I don't think that your boundary should be shifted. Your boundary is for you, and that's a non-negotiable.
I think boundaries are non-negotiable. What I was more so meaning is you said we can compromise on a boundary. Yeah, there could be maybe some conversation about it to get to a place where, okay, this is my boundary. Maybe my boundary is on this night, I'm not cooking and cleaning, but on this night, I'm gonna cook, clean, do all of this. Maybe that's your boundary, right? But it took, maybe originally your boundary was, I'm not gonna cook at all. I'm not cooking, I'm not cleaning at all. But you have to sometimes compromise, right, for your loved ones, because love is selfless. So you have a boundary, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not willing to be open-minded to potentially changing what you establish as an initial boundary.
Yeah.
I feel like a wall is I don't know, boundaries versus walls.
A wall, I like to think of it like this. A wall, if you try to burn a wall, it ain't coming down. That it's just gonna turn black. That's a wall. So whatever that is going on internally, and this is gonna be hard to forgive, walk away from, or I don't know, you can't.
When I put that wall up,
Yeah. Once those bricks are stacked and molded,
it's real hard to bring it back down.
You're gonna have to really
work.
boom. hit a bomb with it. Definitely. No, seriously, because
Yeah.
when you start seeing people cut their hair and, you know, they go missing on social media, they delete all they posts, they wall is probably like burning a little bit or just charred up a little bit. Like, you know what I mean?
I hear that,
Mm-hmm.
girl. That, I think, hey, this is a good one. That kind of talks about navigating conflict without breaking the bond, right? Because like sometimes when you're navigating boundaries and like boundaries versus walls,
Mm-hmm.
like there is maybe going to be conflict in that, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
because what you and your partner may want, like what I may want may be different from what my partner wants. My boundary may like not make my partner happy because that may be what they want, right?
Right.
How do you navigate that without like letting the conflict break your bond? I was having a conversation the other day and I was talking about in conflict, I feel like you should always communicate from a place of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm talking to you, if we're in a conflict, I'm going to always talk to you from a place of love. And the moment that I'm talking to you from a place of like anger
Yeah.
or hurt, like the conversation needs to end, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's not going to be productive.
Yeah.
But if we're going to like talk about a disagreement,
Mhm.
I'm always going to be respectful of like
Right.
my person. I'm always going to think of them and like think of how my words have power and impact.
Mhm.
And I think for me, my opinion at least, I think that's how you could navigate conflict without necessarily breaking the bond.
Yeah. I'm still working on it.
Hey, that's real.
That's something that I'm still trying to learn because at this time in my life, it feel like a lot of people are just falling off, and I don't know how to distinguish if it's me or if this is something that could be really worked through, or you know, do I need to let this person go, or you know, people's go, whatever. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think it's important. That just kind of goes back to like boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you know what your boundaries are, that's going to help you be able to navigate conflict and determine if you need to break that bond or not.
Yeah.
Because if you have a person, like if it's your romantic partner, if it's a friend, like if I'm telling you, this is a boundary for me, like this, you could do everything else, but like this box, don't touch this box.
Yeah.
And if you want to keep touching it, to me, that's, you're breaking a boundary, right? And I think that says so much about your respect.
That actually, wow. Look at that.
Look at that.
Because, yeah, that's a good way to look at that.
Yeah. And it tells you so much about respect.
Yeah.
Like a person that respects you is not going to keep like touching that square you told them not to touch.
Do you also feel like a person who respects you, they're going to try to learn you?
I 100% agree.
So they're going to automatically want to know, like, okay,
what's going to
she don't
set
like
you
this,
off?
this person don't like that,
Right.
and I need to stay away from that. I feel like so too. Like, I feel like if you not doing that, you're not respecting me.
You're not respecting me at
do
all.
you feel like you need Do you feel like you need respect to love?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I feel like
I
respect
feel like so too.
is, so somebody asked me the other day, we were having a conversation, do you think a relationship could thrive on love alone?
No.
And I don't think it could.
Absolutely not.
There are so many other parts and pieces that have to be there for a relationship to be successful outside of love. And I feel like respect is even more important than love.
This is really good because I feel like this is a good transition into our next topic. Respect. I mean, no. Love, sorry. Love is like an emotion. It's just
It's fleeting.
a temporary like
Yeah.
dopamine, like hormone type of like,
Yeah.
like just imagine like a jellyfish, like
Not a jellyfish.
when you imagine a jellyfish, like that's that hormone. So every time that jellyfish go, that hormone go pew.
Not pure.
It's like a.
Why are you whispering?
I was gonna say, like, have you ever like a nut, like once you nut and it's like, okay, I'm back.
Girl, I was not expecting. We went from jellyfishes to like, I was not expecting that.
But it works like that. It worked like that though. It worked like that because it's like it's a temporary thing. Like you could grow out of love. You got to continue to fall in love. So love in itself, no. Again, love is selfless. So with that in itself, like it's just gonna take so much more Are you willing? People grow daily, weekly.
Constantly evolving.
Are you willing to grow with me? Are you willing to trust me as a partner for me to guide you in the areas that I'm good in, and you to guide me in the areas that you're good in? And are we able to work together and say, oh yeah, we acknowledge this. Like this is gonna work for, like, you know what I mean? A relationship is a partnership.
It is. It's two people coming together.
If you never,
with common goals.
you better put your kids in sports, baby.
Look, I think it's
a whole. Because I got something to say. I was gonna say too. Love, just like raising a baby, love is. It takes a village. That's what I learned, and when I was going through these cards, it dawned on me, and it was just like, relationships, postpartum. Do not have a fucking baby if that family do not want a baby. If that man do not want a baby. Because at the end of the day, it takes a village. He could want a baby, but if those grandparents do not want a baby, that should be telling you something from jump. I wouldn't even recommend marrying into a family where you're not liked, where y'all don't get along. Don't do it. That's dysfunctional. That's chaotic. Don't do it. Because how's that baby? It's already split love from the beginning. To me, it ain't gonna work. And you hear me compliment my village all the time, and it works because we all get along. The parents respect me. I respect the parents. But I also seen relationships where the grandparents affect a lot of stuff. And when that husband don't want to take care of those kids, and he hit a switch and he go find another woman, because it happens. Some man will even unalive you because of another woman, because, there was a documentary on Netflix about that. But I was going to say, I wouldn't recommend it. That's another thing about, like, navigating bonds and stuff, like, just in general. I just wanted to say that. Like, when you have kids, please be mindful of that, because you're going to be a little miserable. Because, you see the village I have.
I can't imagine. Like, you guys went through very big transitions very quickly. And I feel like if y'all didn't have the support that y'all have, like, it would have been a lot more difficult.
Morals, like, pay attention to morals, like, baby, before you ain't even having a condom without me knowing your family. How about that?
Hey,
I haven't met your family. Where you going? For real, because now you're taking a chance of getting pregnant. And I haven't met your family. That's the thing about women too. Like, it really sucks, because I say this all the time, and a lot of women, it's a controversial topic. And I always say, a lot of times we're looked down upon. They don't even trust us to become a president because they feel like we're emotional beings, which we are. We could be. It could be the downfall to us, or we could be
a good thing.
Very powerful beings. To me, one of the most powerful beings, like,
I feel like emotional intelligence is, women have high emotional intelligence. And
we
so
have
I feel
an
like
instinct.
when you
that
have
is
that,
crazy.
That just, why
Exactly.
sometimes that's what's lacking, right? Is having that emotional intelligence, being able to have empathy, being able to sympathize. Like, that is sometimes what's lacking.
Yeah. And another thing too, be able to recognize generational curses. Not just from you, but from the other person. Dive into that, like, because I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm going through, like, an insightful time in my life right now where I'm literally witnessing how generational curses affect the generations. Like, I'm vividly seeing it. Like, oh, that's a generational curse right there that you're carrying down.
I think that hits deeper when you become a parent, right? Just like you were able to be aware.
I was never able to see it like this before.
And
like,
now you're looking at it like, wait a minute, this is real. Because if I keep those actions, like, that's why it was so big for you to tell Mari when you realized, like, I'm doing things that my mom was doing that I didn't like.
Right.
I need to stop that. And who's to say, like, she doesn't know that because her mom did that to her.
Exactly.
And her mom did that
and
to
that's
her.
exactly the things. Every relationship, every parent relationship go through things, whatever, right? And I always say, I have sympathy for my mom. Like, I don't hate my mom. I don't have anger. And I'm very grateful that I went through every little detail in my life. I'm glad that I went through it because I'm able to live through this temple with such a like non-bias. Like, even if someone does something to me, I'll be hurt and angry because, you know, I have emotions at the end of the day, but I won't let it drag out. I can't stay angry. I can't stay, and it don't do me no good. It don't do you no good because it's just gonna make you sick at the end of the day. But I was saying, I don't hold nothing against my mom. I see our generations. I see how things were. I'm very alert enough to tell and see, like, you was only doing the best you can
with what you had.
You only had what you were surrounded by. And I feel like that's why, like, I feel like you hear me say it all the time. I'm very conscious of who I have around me, what I have around me, when it's time to leave this room, when it's time to stay, like, but I'm also still learning it too, like trying to figure it out because, again, you're one decision away from making your life go here or here.
Ooh, that makes me have a question. Is there, because I feel like you said, you're always one decision away from making your life go that way or that way. And I feel like what's so important, probably one of the most important decisions you'll ever make is who you end up with in a relationship, right? Like who you marry.
That is so deep because is that man making you want to crawl in bed and cuddle all day, or is that man making you want to go get some money?
So the question that I had is,
take care of your family.
Like, is there, because we all have, like, especially because you're married, right? Like, you didn't kiss some frogs to get to your prince.
Right.
Is there, like, one relationship that you've had in the past that you're just like, ooh, I learned from that. Like, I'm glad I dodged that bullet because if I had stayed in that relationship, that would have been that decision that put you over here.
If I would have stayed in California and I had a situationship, that's what my situationship was. And I take full accountability for the part that I played in it because there would be things in my face and I would ignore it. Ignore it. After that relationship, I told myself I would never, ever go. I love myself way too much now. But what was your question again?
Like, is there a relationship that you feel like I dodged that bullet? Like, if I had stayed in that relationship, that would have been like you said, there's two decisions, right?
I feel like that's every relationship. Like, every relationship have that thing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just the way they operate, the way their family operate and stuff. But yeah, not to say the relationship would have lasted that long, but, you know, the story that I told about the boyfriend in Cali, both of those situations, okay, the first, you know, head over heels guy and the guy that I wasn't supposed to be talking to, both of those
could have easily changed the path.
Imagine me staying in California, baby. I would not be who I am to this day. I would not. And that too, like, since we're in this too, fathers in a relationship, it was a whole complete 360 when my dad came in my life and he was there every single day versus when he wasn't. It was a whole complete 360. When he wasn't in my life, there was things that I was doing that, you know, just seemed okay. And when my dad came in my life, it was just like an instant, like, oh, things was different. Like, nah.
That's why it's important, like, having, as a woman, right? Like, having a dad in your life is so important.
It is so important.
Because they often say, like, both sides. For a girl, like, her dad is her first love. For a boy, his mom is his first love.
Yeah.
Like, you learn everything about how you should be treated, basically, from, like, your partner by how you're treated in your parent relationship by that, like, your dad, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's so important. Like my dad, one thing I will always love about my dad is like every Valentine's Day growing up, my dad would give me like, he was buying my mom chocolate and flowers. I was getting chocolate and flowers and a bear, and like anything she got, I got.
Yeah.
So I feel like that just goes like, I really agree that having a dad and like just him being present can really impact how what you tolerate, right, from relationships. Because sometimes girls that don't have dads, they tolerate a little bit less, right, because they didn't have that father figure to show them like, no, this is
you
not.
don't need to be tolerating that. You don't need to be doing that. And not only, and let's not just say have a dad, because a dad could be in a child's and a woman's life, but more so a dad who is pouring into the
good
family.
dad. Yeah.
Like somebody who holding his weight and doing what he need to do, because
it's not always having a dad, because you can have two parents in a house and you're like, your dad's not there, your mom's not there, but having a dad or a mom, like a parent that is active, that shows up, that like is showing you this is what love looks like, this is how you should be treated. That's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like actually they say that the way the dad treats the mom is, you know, based on how well the kid does. And honestly, with Sage, I see that. I actively see that. Like, I see how she reacts when a lot of parents, they don't want to show affection in front of their kids. No, show affection in front of your kids, because your kids is witnessing how to love. And I'm not
how to
just
receive affection
yeah,
too.
and I'm not just saying sexually, like mentally, like, you know,
emotional intimacy,
exactly.
like intimacy period, because intimacy is not always like sexual.
Yeah. And I just had to make that, you know, let me say that. But I was really just talking about kisses. Like kiss your husband or your girlfriend or your baby mama, baby daddy in front of your kids. Let them see, like, mommy and daddy love each other. Like, you know, just like we love you. Like, how you gonna give your kid a kiss and, you know, the kid not seeing their parent be kissed and stuff? Like, nah, then they gonna grow up thinking everything is like, like they don't want to, they don't want no love. Yeah,
how to take
and
love.
that could play a part in a relationship too, because when you imagine you meet the girl of your life and you don't know how to show her love because your mom never showed you love or your dad never showed you love, or, you know, and same for the girl, like a man trying to pour into you, trying to love you, and you don't know how to receive it because you never received it before. And that could really, you know, push people away.
That goes back to love languages, right? Because like that's how your love languages are developed, by your experiences, right? Your life experiences, what you grew up in. And so to your point, if you didn't grow up seeing your parents be super affectionate, maybe your love language is not going to be physical touch because you're not used to that, right?
Yeah.
Or if you grew up and what you saw was your mom always getting gifts, like maybe your love language is like gift giving and receiving, because that's what you grew up in.
Exactly. Yep.
That just shows you how deep all of that is.
And I feel like all of them are deep. And, you know, monthly, you need to just really make sure, like, I know it's a lot of love languages, but do a board or something. Like, if you need help in your relationship and you need help navigating what to do for your woman or do for your man, do a little board, set alarms, write a little message, like, do this love language today. Because, like, even in my relationship, I receive all love languages, and I may not receive them like all at once or like all in the same week or same day, but they're dispersed, and there'll be certain love languages where I'm like, oh my God, like that was right on time. Like, you know what I mean? And, but it's still in them. Like, you know what I mean? You still know, and you don't want to be love bombed.
Right.
People do love bombing and they turn out to be, you know, serial killers. No, I'm kidding.
Boy, that brings me, talking about relationships and dating, I have to bring this up because I was telling you about it. There's this app, Ladies.
Oh, yes.
Ladies. If you have not heard of the app, the T app, go run to the App Store right now, download it on your phone immediately, because that app is crazy. So T, basically, like, to give y'all a synopsis of it, it's an app where like if y'all heard of those Facebook dating groups, right, where women would go and like post a man and be like, this is my husband, are y'all dating him? This is my boyfriend, like what do you know about him? So T is an app where basically women can go post men and see if there's any tea on him. Like
Messy.
it is messy, but
Yeah.
it's, I think,
Helpful.
going back to relationships and dating, because like you said, love bombing, like I think it's important. All of this is important, but there are some crazy men out here. Some people are off the hinges. Like you said, often people unaliving people because they just, I don't know why you're unaliving people, but they are. And this app helps people like figure that out. You can go run background checks. You can go like pull up their phone number and see if they've been involved in anything. And I just think that's so helpful to have something like that, because you never know.
Yeah, she showed me this app, y'all. People writing paragraphs like, this
Novels.
is my husband, or like, this man is blah, blah, blah. I was like, whoa.
Crazy. So I think, T, y'all might need to sponsor us because we just shouted y'all out. But like, that is so helpful.
Y'all, you can't screenshot, you can't screen record,
You
and you
can't
gotta
nothing.
verify before you get in the app.
you-
That's how you know.
This app is real, okay?
Messy.
It's messy, but it's real, because there are some crazy people out here. And follow all of this advice. Like, take what you want from
Real
it.
life stuff.
But for real, when you're dating people, you never know who you're dating. Be mindful, be intentional. Like, I have a friend, my homegirl, she told me she don't go on a date with nobody without running a background check on them. Like,
Yeah.
be mindful and intentional, because there are crazies out here.
So before we, in this episode, what is one thing that you like? What is some advice that you would give a young lady who is navigating dating?
I have so many pieces of advice. If I had to give one, I really would say love yourself first. Like, you can only go into a relationship with somebody like unhealed and not whole if you don't fully like love yourself first.
And when you don't, you're gonna be, you're gonna tolerate toxicity because you don't know what you want. How are you gonna be purposeful and you don't even know what you want and what you like? And especially if you guys are coming out of high school, I gave this advice to my cousins. Like, I was like, please, y'all, if y'all do nothing else, please at least wait until you're out of high school to lose your virginity. But also too, because ain't nothing going at that time. Like, I remember I used to see posts all the time and it'd be like, love yourself. And I'm like, what? How do you love yourself? Like, and I'm glad that I asked myself that though. And I was able to know, like, to question that, because I don't know if people question that for real. But I used to be like, what does it mean? Like, I always hear this. What does it mean to love yourself? Pour into you. Know what you want. Know what you like. Like, be absolutely okay with you before you go into a relationship. Like Beyonce said, like, you got to have your own life. Like, that saved me. And I can't wait till this next episode of Postpartum, because knowing yourself and knowing what you want is vital. It's key. Like, if you want to live a good, healthy, emotionally intelligent life, that's the first step. Heal, know what you love, know what you like, and know what you're not negotiating. And there we go. Welcome again to Boldly Becoming Podcast, here where we learn resilience and we become our best authentic self.
Period. So if you liked today's video, make sure y'all go like, comment, subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell notification so you can see anytime we post. And yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on our next episode. Bye.
Say that you're gonna be
Nancy.